they're gonna come tomorrow, they'll come by 3. So it's gonna be a little bit. I bet we have 18, 16 prison. I mean, you know. You didn't listen to the debate, did you? Boy, you were the whipping boy. I thought I was the whipping boy. I mean, man. Huh?
She had like her dad or something.
But I mean, he's playing. They're fighting over. They're, you know.
Just waiting for that paycheck to hit next week.
That's what they tell me. I don't know. I just you were with me. No, I didn't know you were with me. Well, yeah, yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, I think the second, third, I don't know. You know, I got yeah. Just laughing up. Stormy, where is your office in the complex over there? Are you in the main building or what? I'm sorry?
I'm not asking you, ma'am. You're always cold.
I thought we had 7.
Commissioner Johnson.
Here we go.
Hold on. But he did say.
Yeah, they brought me up another bag up.
Stephen, will you do the pledge?
Okay. That's my prayer. No.
Oh, yes.
Good night. You know the Lord hear all our prayers, John.
Excuse me.
What, no, it's right here. Special resolution.
You it.
Okay, Commissioners, let's please take our seats and get this ball rolling. Okay, it is 3:37 on Thursday, October 20th. I'd like to call this regular session of the Caddo Parish Commission to order. Mr. Clerk, could we have a roll call, please?
Absolutely. Commissioner Hopkins, Commissioner Johnson,
Present.
Commissioner Jackson,
Here.
Commissioner Young, Commissioner Burrell, Commissioner Jones, Commissioner Gage Watts,
Present.
Commissioner Taliaferro,
Here, sir.
Commissioner Atkins,
Here.
Commissioner Chavez, Commissioner Lazarus,
Here.
and Commissioner Epperson.
Here.
All right, I'm counting 7 of 12 members present. That does constitute a quorum.
Okay, Commissioner Gage Watts, could you please lead us in an invocation? And Commissioner Jackson, could you please lead us in the pledge? All stand, please.
Let us pray. Oh God, how humbly we come before your throne of grace and mercy. Thanking you, Lord God, for another opportunity to serve you and your people. God, we ask right now, Father God, that you would be the comforter that you said you would be to the families who lost 2 babies on this week, oh God. Lord, we remember them in our prayers, God, and we ask, Father God, that you would bless them, Father God, and give them understanding, oh God, in this very critical time. Lord, we pray that we will make the best decisions for the citizens of Caddo Parish. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 If you would please render the proper hand of brow salute, and everyone else place your hand over your heart, and let's repeat the pledge together. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Gage Watts, for the prayer, and thank you, Commissioner Jackson, for the pledge. And let us please also remember to keep in mind our POWs and MIAs when we think about the pledge. Okay, Mr. Clerk.
Okay, that brings us to agenda additions. There is one item under agenda additions today, and it is a potential agenda addition that was brought by Commissioner Chavez, who's not here today. But he was wanting to add Ms. Paulette Freeman from the Bridge Alzheimer's Dementia Resource Center as a visitor to today's agenda.
Do we have a motion to add that? A motion by Commissioner Gage Watts. Do we have a second?
Second.
A second by Commissioner Epperson to add this item to our agenda. I believe we'd have to have an open meeting to see if there's anyone opposed. So I'd like to open up the floor to a public meeting to see if there's anyone either in support of or opposed to adding this item to the agenda. If there is someone in support of or opposed to, please come forward. Seeing none, we will close the open meeting and put it to a vote. We're voting on whether to expand the agenda to include this item regarding Ms. Paulette Freeman.
All right, that motion carries with 7 in support and none in opposition. So we will add Ms. Freeman as a visitor, which will be following the citizens' comments. And if it's okay with you, we'll move forward to citizens' comments.
Okay.
Okay, great. So citizens who wish to address the commission on issues other than zoning are asked to fill out a comment card located in the chamber foyer and return it to the president or the clerk of commission. Individual comments are limited to 3 minutes. We've received that I'm aware of 2 requests for comment, and those have been submitted to the president. If there are additional comments, the card can be filled out and submitted right there to my left.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. Our first visitor is Mr. David Craig. Mr. Craig, come on forward, please. Welcome, Mr. Craig. The floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. I'm the pastor at Grace Point Church of the Nazarene. I'm also the chaplain for Pines Road Business Association, and I live in Bethany within the parish. And I wanted to speak towards the sexually oriented business that's taking place close to my church on Pines Road. I realize that's not within the parish's responsibility, but within the city's. But I am concerned with future businesses opening up in our areas of the parish, specifically in the Bethany Greenwood area and closer to our church. And so I wanted to speak against this and to be put on the record that we need to have some way of the citizens in the areas where these businesses will be put, informing them that this is coming, at least on an application, at least where the citizens would have an opportunity to speak out against these particular businesses that are trying to start and begin. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Craig. And just for the record, we can't ask you questions, so thank you for testifying. Second item is Mr. R.J. Johnson. Hello, Mr. Johnson. What's on your mind today?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. R.J. Johnson, and I'm coming to you today on behalf of the Shreveport National Panhellenic Council, which is the umbrella group for our Divine 9 organizations, our 9 historically Black Greek letter organizations, founded in 1930 in Washington, D.C. We are hosting next Friday from 3 to 7 p.m. Power Stroll to the Polls in conjunction with the Power Coalition. This is a nonpartisan event. Celebrating the opening of our new early voting location at the Hamilton South Caddo Branch Library, and that will be across the street. The event is across the street at Remington College. So we invite all of you to come out and join us for the event. We are expecting 300 to 500 people to cycle through from all of our organizations. It is free, open to the public, food, fun, entertainment. Tipsy the Band will be performing, as well as 3 Kings. And also we will have a visit from our 35th National President of the NPAC, Donna Jones Anderson, who will be flying in from Philadelphia to join us for this event. So we are excited to showcase Shreveport. We're excited to showcase Caddo Parish, and we're hoping that you all will be there for the event on Friday, the 28th at 3 o'clock, 3 to 7 at Remington College on Burt Coombs. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.
Friday the 28th from 3 to 7 at Remington College.
Remington College, yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys.
Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Ari.
Or Mr. Johnson. Okay, Mr. Clerk.
All right, that brings us then, that concludes the public comments for right now, and that brings us to visitors, where we have one visitor scheduled for today, and that is Miss Paulette Freeman. Miss Freeman is in the audience, and is, as she makes her way up, she's with the Bridge Alzheimer's Dementia Resource Center.
Welcome, Ms. Freeman.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I also want to introduce our staff here, Tony Thompson, Laura Gaucher, Christy Kennedy, and Shelley Miller. Thank you
Welcome.
for having us. It's a pleasure to be here and an honor. Thank you for letting us introduce ourselves. We are the Bridge Alzheimer's and Dementia Resource Center. We're a nonprofit organization, and we're located at 851 Olive Street, and we opened our doors in January of 2021, even during COVID. It shows you how our services are needed. So whenever a diagnosis is made of Alzheimer's or dementia, or even if you're just concerned about your memory, there's nowhere to turn to. There's not an instruction manual, but you have now us. You have now us, the Bridge Alzheimer's Dementia Resource Center. And we are a nonprofit. We're funded by grants, organizations, churches, businesses, and private donors. And some of our grant foundations are Blue Cross Blue Shield of Louisiana Foundation, the Community Foundation North Louisiana, the Beer Foundation, Frank's Foundation, Scott Foundation, and the Parish Foundation. And all of the money that is raised stays here in our community in Northwest Louisiana. You know, before I came up here, I met 3 people that were affected by Alzheimer's or dementia. Nationwide, there are 6 million people aged 65 and older that's living with Alzheimer's and dementia. Locally, according to the Center for Brain Health at LSU Health, there are over 85,000 people in a 75-mile radius of LSU Med Center that's living with Alzheimer's. I'm going to repeat that. Over 85,000 people in a 75-mile radius of the Med Center, they're living with Alzheimer's dementia. So what are we doing as an organization to help these people? Our mission is to provide resources, education, and support services for those affected by Alzheimer's or dementia, including their family members, including their caregivers, and also to create community awareness. I love our vision. It's creating a community where no one affected by Alzheimer's or dementia makes the journey alone. And that's what we're here to do. So how do we help these people? We provide memory screenings. All these services are free of charge. We provide memory screenings, social services, counseling, monthly workshops. We help them navigate the financial, legal, and housing aspects of the disease. We have activities for caregivers and their loved ones. We have a local directory that lists all the organizations that help those with Alzheimer's dementia. We have a lending library. We have a video library. In 2021, our goal was to serve 1,700 people. We ended up serving 2,100 people. In 2022, our goal is to serve 5,000 people. At the end of September, we have reached over 3,300 people. And I'm not saying those numbers to brag, but to let you know how great the need is in our Northwest Louisiana community. So what are we doing this month for the month of November, which is National Alzheimer's Month? We're having a conference. It's our 2nd annual conference on Alzheimer's dementia, Friday, November 4th at First United Methodist Church from 8 to 4. It's for caregivers, it's for professionals, medical professionals, and it's for the public, just if they're interested. And the title of it is A Positive Approach to Dementia. There's so many challenges associated with taking care of a loved one with dementia, and this is an opportunity to show caregivers and medical professionals and others how to have a positive attitude and how to do it in a positive way. I thank our staff and our board of directors for being here, and we thank you, Commissioner Chavez, and you, Commissioner Gage Watts, for introducing this resolution for us. Thank you.
Thank you all, and thanks for what you all do. Any questions for Ms. Freeman?
Mr. Chairman, if it is appropriate, I think at this time we should just present a special proclamation or resolution.
Do you have one prepared? Okay. Thank you, Commissioner.
I'll second it.
Commissioner Chavez, this is your.
And Commissioner Watts as well, so we can do it
we
together.
have We have a, well, we'll just say we have a motion by Commissioner Jackson and a second by Commissioner Gage-Watts to present the proclamation. And Commissioner Chavez, I'll turn the floor to you.
I appreciate you. Mr. Everson, would you like to read it? Will commissioners please stand?
And I've got a copy here if you'd like to present. Okay, and it reads, Proclamation for National Alzheimer's Awareness Month. Whereas Alzheimer's disease is a progressive disease of the brain causing deterioration in memory,
Everyone
reasoning,
please stand.
motor skills, and the ability to take care of oneself. The impact of Alzheimer's on individuals, families, and our healthcare system makes the disease one of our nation's primary medical, social, and fiscal challenges. And whereas Alzheimer's affects every level of society, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, every 66 seconds, someone in the United States develops the disease. More than 5 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's, and Alzheimer's is the 6th leading cause of death. It kills more than breast and prostate cancer combined. And whereas Alzheimer's is the most common form of dementia, and the social, emotional, and financial impacts of dementia are felt by everyone, persons with dementia, their families, caregivers, and communities. And whereas there are more than 18.1 billion hours of unpaid care per year by caregivers resulting from Alzheimer's and other dementias, causing a negative economic impact, costing the nation approximately $236 billion. And whereas currently there are no treatments that can prevent, delay, or reverse Alzheimer's disease, and stigma leads many people with dementia and their families to fear exclusion and differential treatment, preventing them from seeking help and disclosing their diagnosis. And whereas early detection provides individuals and families to adjust to the diagnosis and plan for the future, and all Caddo Parish citizens need to be better informed about Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia, and to work to create a more supportive and inclusive community. Now therefore be it resolved by the Caddo Parish Commission that it does hereby proclaim November 2022 as National Alzheimer's Awareness Month in Caddo Parish, Louisiana, and urges all citizens to join with the parish in recognition of this important month, and urges citizens and organizations to educate themselves about Alzheimer's, dementia, and other brain diseases. And that is signed by members of the Caddo Parish Commission.
You guys may be seated.
Everybody be seated.
I want to thank you guys for coming down here. This is important. I know we can only do so much for this horseshoe, and we can appropriate funds, and we do what we can for the community, but it's truly you guys that are out there that are the workforce that are helping our citizens on a day-to-day basis. So thank you for what you do. Ms. Watts?
Thank you, Commissioner. I dare not have a moment to say thank you personally to you for what you do. It's important for us to be able to educate the public on Alzheimer's and dementia. I always talk to my colleagues anytime we do this yearly. This is not our first time, but this is our very first time having representatives here who works with Alzheimer's and dementia patients on a daily basis. And I always try to help them to relate to it by putting a helmet on or shades, you know, and trying to figure out exactly where you are, and also learning to love the new person that person has become. Because just because they don't remember you, you remember them. So I just want the public to be well aware that these are still people. We still have a responsibility to care for them, and it is our business and our obligation to use this platform to highlight your services. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know Crystal would like to get a picture if you guys can turn around.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you very
I think there
much.
may be a couple of commissioners who'd like to speak before you get away, Ms. Freeman. Commissioner Epperson, are you on the board? That was
No.
old?
No, sir,
Okay.
that's old.
Commissioner Burrell?
Yes, I'd just like to commend you on your organization. I think it's sorely needed in this area. People, you know, we have an aging population. I just happen to fall into that category myself, and I know we dealt with my dad with it, and it's taxing, but you have to have love and dedication to commit to make them have a more positive outcome as they get older. Again, Mr. Chairman, so we appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Mr. President, I want to be added to that resolution as well as 8.2, 3, and 4 while we're at it.
Okay, did you get that, Mr. Clark?
That was 8.2, 3, and 4, as well as
Yes,
the first
8.1
one?
through
So all
4.
of the special resolutions today? Great.
Okay. Any more questions for Ms. Freeman? Any other comments? Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thanks for coming
thank
down.
you
Thanks
very
for what
much.
you do for our community.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Clerk.
Okay, that brings us back. So at that point, we were in visitors, so a motion to go back to the regular order would be.
We have a
Move to go
motion.
back
So
into
moved.
regular order.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Chavez, second by Commissioner Jackson, go back into regular session. Is that by acclamation? Yes, okay, let's go. We're back in regular session.
Thank you. That brings us to adopting regular session minutes. You also have special
Move
session
to
minutes.
global the regular session meeting for October 6th, the special session September 26th, and the minutes, the special session for October 13th, and global in advance, and global and adopt.
We have a motion to englobo and adopt those 3 sets of minutes made by Commissioner Johnson, a second by Commissioner Lazarus. Seeing no one on the board, let's vote on that.
All right, that motion carries with 9 in support and none in opposition. That brings us to special resolutions, where today we have already taken up item 8.1. And the next item is 8.2, a special resolution recognizing National Disability Employment Awareness Month. And I believe there is a representative from Goodwill here today to receive this.
Okay, Commissioner Gage Watts, would you like
Second.
to facilitate this discussion?
Yes, we can go ahead and do the presentation.
All right.
All right.
Let's all stand, please.
Mr. President, can we englobo and present them all so we're not up and down?
I think there's only one that we're actually presenting in person.
Okay,
The rest
all
will-
right.
Thank you. And I did move it.
Okay, and while Commissioner Gage Watts makes her way down, I will read. This is a proclamation for National Disability Employment Month. Whereas Caddo Parish employers, government agencies, and nonprofit agencies, including Goodwill Industries of North Louisiana, joined together in October to honor the contributions of workers with disabilities by celebrating National Disability Employment Awareness Month. And whereas our economy works to recover from the effects of the pandemic, companies have a critical need for skilled and reliable workers of all backgrounds. The Caddo Parish Commission asks, alongside Goodwill, for employers to consider hiring people with disabilities and adopt inclusive policies and practices in the workplace. And whereas the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reports that just over 21% of Americans with disabilities participate in the labor force, compared with more than 67% of people in the general population. We should work together to ensure that all Americans who want to work can work, and that they have access to services that enable them to do so. Further, people with disabilities are a dependable and valuable workforce who have higher rates of employee retention, which reduces hiring and training costs. And whereas in addition to placing disabled workers into jobs, support organizations like Goodwill provide support services like rehabilitation programs for people with injuries or illnesses, occupational skills training, and job readiness and soft skills training. An example being the upcoming Disability Job and Resource Fair that was held this week in Shreveport, Louisiana, sponsored by Goodwill and Healthy Blue Louisiana. And whereas the U.S. Department of Labor has designated October as National Disability Employment Awareness Month with an emphasis on the theme America's Recovery, Powered by Inclusion, and whereas the Parish of Caddo recognizes the benefits of a workforce open to and comprised of all who are interested in working, now therefore be it resolved by the Caddo Parish Commission that it does hereby proclaim October 2022 as National Disability Employment Awareness Month in Caddo Parish, Louisiana, and urges all citizens to join with the parish in recognition of this important month.
Thank you, everybody. Everybody, please be seated. Stormy, any comments? Pardon me, Commissioner Gage Watts, any comments?
Just one quick comment. Thank you. And I'm going to allow Vaughn if she would like to say anything at this time. This is another opportunity for us to use our platform to raise awareness, to be inclusive. And it is very important that we never disenfranchise the disabled community. And there's an opportunity for them right here in Caddo Parish. They are welcome and wanted. I'm going to turn it over to Vaughn. They had an amazing already last Wednesday, which was yesterday, Jeff. We have 2 corrections.
That's how I saw
on
that.
here.
I'm just texting you. Let me get her.
Thank
updated
you.
one.
So he's going to get it reprinted for you, but thank you. And we'll allow Vaughn to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank
Thank
you,
you. Welcome.
Commissioners, for allowing us to use our platform for awareness. Goodwill Industries' mission is to empower people's lives, to empower them to improve their lives through the power of work. And we know that work is significant to everyone's life and to their families, to their livelihoods, so that they have a better quality of life. Goodwill Industries of North Louisiana is here in Shreveport, Monroe, Natchitoches, and Alexandria. And so we're honored to be able to help our communities be stronger, to be more vibrant, by ensuring that employment is accessible to all persons. And we appreciate your support of that. Thank you.
Thank you for coming down, and thanks for what you all do for our community and our disabled personnel.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Clerk.
Okay, that brings us to 8.3, a special resolution recognizing Spanish Heritage Month.
And that resolution was read at the event at LSUS on Saturday night. Anything to add, Commissioner Chavez?
Thank you, President, for doing that.
My pleasure. Do we need to?
Take a motion
I guess we
to
need-
englobo that special resolution as well as the Poncho Trail resolution.
I don't
Adopt.
Officially, let's just adopt them all and vote on them all, because I don't know that we actually went through that process.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Chavez and a second by Commissioner Burrell to englobo and approve all 4 of these special resolutions. Commissioner Jackson?
Man, the Poncho, that's just the restaurant, right?
Right.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't, I just want to make sure, okay.
You good, Commissioner Jackson?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. Let's vote on that.
And that motion carries with 9 in support, none in opposition. That brings us to communiques and committee reports, as well as administration responses to information requests from commissioners.
Okay, please get on the board, commissioners, if you have any communiques or committee reports. Commissioner Epperson.
Yes, sir. I'd like to thank the administration for the support that they rendered on behalf of the rededication of our Caddo Department of Veterans Affairs informational building at 1031 Creswell. Beautiful facility. Everything was well attended. Staff was knowledgeable and articulate. Everything was in place in very good manner. We had a good speaker with a lot of information. Colonel Joey Strickland, the Louisiana Department of Veterans Affairs Secretary from Baton Rouge, he came up and shared with us. And also just want to commend staff as well as Ms. Watts and the individuals that put on the expungement seminar at the Louisiana State Fairgrounds. Had an opportunity after I finished over at the Veterans Affairs building to go by. Very well attended, a very, very necessary and pertinent venue that was put in place. So therefore, I understand that the demand outlasted the resources, so that's a good thing. So that tells us that we are working in a process whereas we're doing something that's very needed and on the minds of our citizens. Hope that we continue to do so. Also on October the 27th at 6:00 p.m. at the Bill Cockrell Community Center, 4109 Pines Road, Shreveport 71119. We'll be hosting a redistricting information forum, and it's not just open to the people within the confines of that particular area. Redistricting is the process that will affect all 12 districts in the parish, so individuals from anywhere they are located in Caddo Parish are welcome to come out, because basically you will be given the same information. So if you would, please come out and do so. And I also want to thank our Public Works Department for bringing out the trash bins during the Deer Creek Timberline surrounding areas cleanup campaign. Everything turned out real well. I think we got a pretty good amount of trash haul out, and it's keeping the community aware of how a clean community is a safe community. So we want to make sure that we continue to do that. And we're looking to expand this in other unincorporated areas of the parish. Since they heard from this, they are wanting to share in that also. Because we know that the way that any area of Caddo Parish look, be it in an incorporated area or an unincorporated area, everybody consider, whether it's the city of Shreveport or Vivian or Greenwood, it's Caddo Parish, and it's a reflection upon us all. So that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Epperson. Commissioner Jackson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Ms. Bryant, is Public Works here?
Yes.
And probably Kevin as well.
Yeah, they're both Dr. Waters here as well as Kevin.
Could somebody give an update on the situation on Creswell that we got the call on? And
yes, sir. I met with the lady yesterday, and we're
the lady, can we give her a name? Do you remember her
McCraw?
name? McGraw? Okay.
McCraw, I think. Am I correct, Michelle?
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Met with her yesterday. We're taking care of the issue on the fence, and the other issue we're taking a look at and seeing what we can figure out there.
So your office wouldn't be dealing with the issue on she said some drainage was installed. Did we install the drainage, or did the
No,
city
the parking
install
lot
it?
that's in question's been there for 25 years that I'm aware of.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a natural drainage in that area. The whole street slopes that way, so we're not quite sure what.
Just said it was something about a drainage was installed recently.
No, sir. We haven't done anything recent.
No, so, okay.
No, the parking lot that's there and the way it was set up's been that way for 25 that I'm aware of. So no recent changes have been made.
Okay.
But we're looking at it and seeing if there's anything we can do to help the situation.
And is that something Public Works is? Because I saw Public Works was tagged or asked.
I just had asked Mr. Ken for some advice on it with the drainage.
Okay.
And I just spoke to him about it. So it's something that we're taking care of in F&M.
Okay. So y'all gonna follow up? Or?
Yes. I told the Mrs. McCraw that I would get back with her once I had more information on the drainage thing.
Okay.
But the fences should be taken care of by the end of next
Because you
week.
keep saying drainage thing. I don't know what the drainage thing is.
The way the parking lot sits, the way it drains back where her building is, and it's just eroded some of the ground away through natural drainage.
And that's on her property?
Yes, sir.
You saying we're not responsible for that?
I don't think that there's a legal responsibility on our end. It's just natural drainage. It was done well before '05. I think after '05, there were rules put in place for stormwater retention and things like that.
Okay.
So not quite sure what we can do. We're going to just look at it and see if there's any cleaning or anything we can do to help the situation on our side.
If you could, y'all keep me in the loop on it. She seemed a little shaken about it, but I guess y'all talked.
No, she was very polite, very nice. We spoke. Okay. She has my contact information, and I'll keep her and you abreast of everything.
Okay. Y'all must have talked after we talked then.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. And that's it, Ken. Appreciate it.
All right.
Administration, I also wanted to see, and I think I might, Ms. Bryant, I might have copied Dr. Wilson on this one, about former commissioner, or let me just say Commissioner Carl Pearson Highway. I think that dedication is coming up for November 20th, I believe. I think it was November 20th.
Yes, sir.
And so they've asked us if we could help plan. I don't know to what degree we may want to, but I definitely think he served this body very well, and he served in the school board extremely well as well. And so if we could, roll out the red carpet for our beloved member who served on this body as well. I don't know about the issue about the signs. Did they come to any conclusion on the signs? That might be
Yes, sir. We have a resolution on the sign, and we are working with them to try to plan the event for November 20th.
Okay, all right. And then if we could get, if y'all could get, I don't know who this would be, if it would be Ken or Tim? Is it Tim? Tim Weaver?
Yes, sir.
Maybe one of them can check on can we get a general status update on 4th Street? The city was supposed to be doing some infrastructure upgrades beneath it. I know that they put it in engineering or design phase or something like that. If we can find out what that update is, because Ms. Pearson checked in on that. Obviously, the situation on 4th Street is almost impassable. It's very hard to pass. But I know we had agreed and committed to resurfacing it after the city did their work. Jeff, I got the information on the dates. None of those dates work for me.
Okay.
I'm not going to ask folks to come meet on a Friday or Saturday. I'm not going to rush to get any dates either. We're going to give Mr. Floyd some dates. If he's on a retainer for us, my hope and expectation is that he'll be here when we ask him to be here. And so I know he has some other plans as well. When I say plans, other areas of the state that he's servicing. But I do want to make sure that I'm not rushed to get a date. All I see left are Fridays and Saturdays. So
I don't know if you saw my most recent note, but there is the possibility, he did offer,
dual
depending
dates
on the timing of some, he may be able to do 2 in the same day, but like we said already,
I saw
just
the
let me
5
know
and 7.
what your
Yeah.
groups say, and we'll certainly be happy to run those traps.
okay. And Attorney Frazier, you gonna did that email that I had sent about that information? Do you think that's some information that you're gonna have to reach out to him to get about who has not?
I've already asked him, and
Okay.
basically the situation is unprecedented.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. That's it for me for right now. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Burrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. At the work session, I mentioned that I would try to bring you up to date on the situation out at Fairgrounds Field, an issue that was raised by Mr. Lynn Coleman. We were able to get the demolition of Fairgrounds Field postponed at least until December 1st, 2022 by court order. The concern was, as you know, was the spread of histoplasmosis, which is developed by inhaling airborne particles due to bat droppings, and due to the demolition of Fairgrounds Field, where the bat droppings that are there may become airborne and people could inhale them. As you know, we have our state fair coming up, and we have thousands of people that will be in that area. We was concerned about that. We are also concerned about the surrounding communities, Queensboro, Warner Park, Ingleside, also Moortown, which is not very far. We're also concerned about their park. There's a school there. We have the state fair, the Louisiana State Museum. We have Willis-Knighton Hospital, all that in that area. And because of the concern that was developed, well, I became concerned because of the letters that we got from the Mayo Clinic saying that this could cause histoplasmosis. And as you know, I sent out an email, a correspondence to a lot of people, probably over 75, including the governor of the state. And the governor did get his information. I sent it to his executive secretary, and he forwarded it to the Louisiana Department of Health, who requested an environmental assessment before the startup again. The final thing is that the mayor did announce the possible redevelopment of that property in that area by a company called Rev Entertainment. I guess that's left to be seen, but at the same time, that was a positive note. Hopefully that will take place. But until then, the public health of that area was in question. So I'm glad to say that we were able to get it stopped until then, and they're going to have to bring in the environmental folks to try to arrest this problem, this issue. Only other thing, people say, well, why would you be interested in it? Well, a similar situation happened in Indiana, where they tore down an amusement park there. As I understand, I got information on that. About 100,000 people were affected, and 10 of them died. So it could be very serious, so we can take that risk. Again, that's where we are, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Burrell. I appreciate your work on that matter. Ms. Bryant?
Yes, sir, thank you. Commissioners, we'd just like to remind you of the ribbon cutting for the new early voting location at the South Hamilton branch at 10 a.m. tomorrow, 2011 West Burt Coons. The administration would also like to thank the staff that worked on the expungement summit and the ribbon cutting from the Veterans Center, our communications, human resources, and facilities and maintenance, as well as the other departments that came out and helped with those events. That concludes my report.
Just to make sure everybody has the proper address, Ms. Bryant, was that 2011 West Burt Coons?
Yes, 2111, 2111.
Okay, 2111 West Burt Coons.
Yes.
111.
All right, let me just get that in my phone real quick, the address. Okay, let's see, anyone else on the board? No other communiques? Okay, Mr. Clerk?
All right, that brings us to a president's report.
Well, Ms. Bryant commented on the three things I was going to comment on, so we're good to go.
We'll move forward then. We have no public hearings on zoning ordinances today, so we'll move to public hearings on ordinances, where we have a couple of items. The first item is a public hearing for ordinance number 6161 of
Mr.
2020.
Clerk, let's just read both of these, and then we'll come back for the public hearing on both of them.
Great. The first item, 12.1, a public hearing for ordinance 6161 of 2022. That's an ordinance amending the 2022 budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Economic Development Fund to carry over the 2021 appropriation for the African American Chamber of Commerce and otherwise provide with respect thereto, from Commissioner Jackson. And the next item is a public hearing for ordinance number 6162 of 2022. That's an ordinance granting approval for an additional septic system at 153 Monique Drive in Shreveport, Louisiana, and otherwise providing with respect thereto, from Commissioner Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Okay, at this time, I'd like to open the floor for a public hearing on either item number 6161 or item number 6162. If there's anyone in the audience who would like to speak in favor of or in opposition to either of these two items, please come forward now. Seeing no one, the floor is now closed. Okay, Mr. Clerk.
Okay, we will move past zoning ordinances as we have none scheduled today, and move forward to ordinances for final passage. The first item is ordinance number 6161 of 2022. That's the ordinance amending the 2022 budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Economic Development Fund to carry over the 2021 appropriation for the African American Chamber of Commerce and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Mr. President, I actually like to move to postpone to the second meeting in November at this time.
We have a motion to postpone this item to the second meeting in November.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jackson, second from Commissioner Burrell. No comments?
No.
Okay, let's vote, please, on a postponement to the second meeting in November.
And that motion carries with 9 in support, none in opposition, and 3 absent. That brings us next to ordinance number 6162 of 2022. That's an ordinance granting approval for an additional septic system at 153 Monique Drive in Shreveport, Louisiana, and otherwise providing with respect thereto.
I'd like to move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. I'll comment on my motion. You all will remember Ms. Bosco. She's testified a couple of times to our body. She's worked tirelessly for several months with both Public Works and Department of Health and a third-party certified professional engineer to develop a plan that's suitable to everyone involved regarding an additional septic tank, and I sure would appreciate y'all's support on this matter. Okay, any other questions? Let's vote, please.
Okay, and that motion carries with 9 in support, none in opposition, and 3 absent.
Thank you all.
That brings us to zoning ordinances for introduction by title, where the first item today is introducing ordinance number 6262 relative to 22-20-P. That's an ordinance to amend Volume 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo as amended, the Caddo Parish Unified Development Code, by amending the zoning of property located on the east side of Flornar Lucas Road, approximately 650 feet south of Winderweedle Road in Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from RA Rural Agricultural Zoning District to C2 Corridor Commercial Zoning District, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. That item is in District 12. The next item is the introduction of ordinance number 6263 related to 22-21-P. That's an ordinance to amend Volume 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo as amended, the Caddo Parish Unified Development Code, by amending the zoning of property located east of Cessna Drive, approximately 1,320 feet south of East Flornar Lucas Road, Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from R17 Single Family Residential Zoning District to R15 Single Family Residential Zoning District, and otherwise provide with respect thereto, and that item is in District 9. That brings us then to the next section, which is ordinances for introduction, where we're going to have ordinance number 6265 of 2022 is the introduction of ordinance number 6265 of 2022 is an ordinance to amend Chapter 4, Article 2, Division 3 related to alcoholic beverage employee handling cards to provide for compatibility with City of Shreveport requirements for such cards and to otherwise provide with respect thereto, from Commissioner Chavez. The next item is the introduction of ordinance number 6264 of 2022. That's introducing, postponing, and setting a public hearing and final consideration for the December 8th regular session meeting for an ordinance amending and reenacting ordinance number 5111 of 2011, enumerating the constituent precincts respectively comprising the commission districts and otherwise providing with respect thereto. This is the redistricting ordinance. The final item for introduction today is the introduction of ordinance number 6266 of 2022. That's an ordinance adopting the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Shreve Memorial Library for the year 2023. And that brings us now
Mr. Clerk,
to
one moment, please. I just I see some members in the audience that are here regarding some of these items.
They don't speak on that.
Can't speak.
I know, I'm not asking them to speak. I was just going to ask, when would these come up for a final vote, like the introductions on the ordinances? Is that next? Is that?
So the items, with the exception of item number 6264, are scheduled to have a public hearing at our November 3rd regular session meeting and can be adopted or have final consideration on that. That item 6264 concerning the redistricting, as stated, that one is being introduced today, but it is not having its public hearing and final consideration until December 8th.
Thank you. All right. Carry on, please.
Okay, that brings us to work session minutes, where you have attached the work session minutes from October 17th, 2022 meeting.
We have a motion from Commissioner Gage Watts. A second from Commissioner Lazarus to approve the work session minutes from October 17th. Let's have a vote, please.
All right, that motion carries with 9 in support, none in opposition, and 3 absent. That brings us to Resolution 44 of 2022. That's a resolution to urge and request the Caddo Parish Planning Board to review and make recommendations regarding the placement of mobile homes as a use by right in RA zoning districts and otherwise provide with respect thereto, from Commissioner Johnson.
Move to remove from the agenda.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Johnson to remove, a second from Commissioner Burrell to remove this from the agenda. Any comments, Commissioner Johnson?
No.
Okay, let's vote, please.
All right, that motion carries with 9 in support, none in opposition, and 3 absent. And then we move forward to Resolution 47 of 2022, which is a resolution urging and requesting the Louisiana State Legislature to authorize the use of ballot boxes and to extend the early voting period and otherwise providing with respect thereto. From Commissioner Gage Watts.
Move to approve Resolution 47.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Sturman Gage Watts to approve Resolution 47, a second by Commissioner Burrell. Commissioner Gage Watts, would you like to comment?
Sure, thanks, Mr. President. We spoke on this on Monday, and I just would like to reiterate that we are at a pivotal point in history where voters are actively voting more than ever before. This is very commendable and a beginning to help our democracy flourish even more. It's advantageous for us to make sure that all voices are heard. We're obligated to provide safe options through technology, equipment, and services for our citizens by being proactive and not just reactive. Extending early voting dates and using ballot boxes are detrimental in providing equal access to voters, could eliminate citizens going to wrong precincts, purge from voter rolls, and waiting in long lines. A plethora of states allow citizens to cast votes up until Election Day. In addition to the ballot boxes at early voting sites as an optional service for citizens who are sick, who are disabled, or at least 65 years old, or for those who will be out of the parish during early voting or on Election Day. With limited locations, even with our brand new satellite location opening, early voting sites in Caddo, these services provide additional safe options for our citizens to cast their votes. Commissioners, as always, I humbly present and ask for your support on passing this resolution. Simply asking for provisions of an additional tool to support our voters. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gage Watts. Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, President. One of our fellow commissioners couldn't be here, and he just asked if I introduce a substitute motion to remove the ballot box but keep the early voting as a concession. So this is merely an offering for him since he could not make it. That would be my motion if I can get a second.
Second.
All right,
right.
so just I think that you could achieve your substitute motion by striking the words "to authorize use of ballot boxes" from this proposed
Yes, that was
legislation.
the request from the commissioner that had to attend a funeral. So
Okay.
I'm
So
making that concession.
We had a motion by Commissioner Chavez and a second from Commissioner Talferro to strike the words "to authorize use of ballot boxes" from this resolution. We vote on, Commissioner Jackson.
Guess I'd be curious to know who that commissioner was, 'cause 3 missing, and if they gave an explanation
Oh,
for why.
I'm at liberty to say it was Commissioner Young. And he just sent some data about, if I may, President.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
That was a question to Commissioner.
He was just concerned with integrity. He had a lot of reports. He was doing his research on boxes around the country that could have been compromised. So he was for more early voting time, just wanted to do more research on the boxes, but he didn't have enough time.
Gotcha. Is that information available to be shared? Is that information available to be shared? The
I'll
research-
forward it. I'll forward it to you, Commissioner.
Yeah, if you could forward it, maybe hit the all email. Yes.
I'll do it.
I'd be interested to see it.
Commissioner Gage Watts.
Thank you,
Commissioner
Mr. President.
Jackson,
Thank you,
sir.
Mr. President.
Oh, sorry, Commissioner Jackson.
No, you're good.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. Thank
Okay.
you. That was it.
Thank you, Mr. President. As I also had this conversation with Mr. Young, and that I truly appreciate the support of expanding the days for early voting. However, we need both tools to support this voter participation. And as I've said earlier, we finally have an alternative voting location. We're still missing an opportunity for other areas across the parish. The ballot boxes are safe and will help to expand voters' accessibility. The United States Postal Service often have delays, and the drop boxes won't incur any additional costs to our citizens. And I still really need your support and to help urge state legislators to carry out this initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gage Watts. Commissioner Epperson.
I hate to be stereotyped, you know what I mean? Why are you going to do some research from somewhere else and you're going to label us? You know what I mean? I figure that, you know, we are intelligent and capable and seeing improprieties in other places, And if we put something of this nature in place, we're gonna do all that we can to ensure the integrity of it. So I just have an issue with that, based upon something that happened somewhere else. You know, it's almost like labeling a certain group of people, or a certain area of town. So I will not be supporting that substitute motion.
Okay. Anyone else on the board? I had a comment, but I'll wait for anyone else. Okay, seeing no one else on the board, I'll just make a comment. I'm no expert in this matter. I am under the belief that there was a presidential committee on voting. Was it under President Clinton? And President Carter, former President Carter was on that body, and they actually were not in support of ballot boxes. So I'll just add that to the conversation. Commissioner Burrell.
Mr. President, since you're adding, I guess I need to add, given that I watched this situation quite a bit on a national basis, most of the voter fraud, if there is any voter fraud, has not been done by one particular party that they many try to accuse of. It's normally the other if we're going to get into those details. And in terms of voter boxes, as Commissioner Gage Watts said, they are probably some of the safest ways of getting the mail or getting the ballots back to the voter's office. The second thing is voting is a state issue. Each state has its own rules and regulations, and to put put an umbrella, a blanket over every state because there may be an issue here or an issue there has been no evidence. I mean, there's been no evidence that has shown that there is any massive voter fraud. And as I said, if there is, that which I've seen on a national basis have not been by one particular party that is being accused of it. And that really disturbs me from that perspective. So when you limit the opportunity for anybody to vote, that is not democratic, period. If you look at other countries and some of the things that they have to go through just to vote, intimidated, being intimidated, having armed militias come into their houses and stuff, we should feel like we are blessed, but we are not. We demagogue it and then try to make people feel that somehow something is broken. It is not broken. The only thing that's broken is the people who are talking about it. So again, Mr. Chairman, it really kind of upset me because I watch this stuff day in and day out, and it's really becoming very, very ridiculous to try to put obstacles up for people to vote. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Burrell. All right, anybody else on the board? Seeing no one, let's vote.
Voting on
the substitute motion first.
Sorry, yes, thank you for the clarification. We're voting on Commissioner Chavez's substitute motion first. Commissioner Chavez, would you just repeat that just for the benefit of the...
To strike the ballot box, but keep the early vote.
Okay. All right, we ready? Everybody clear? Mm-hmm. Okay, let's vote, please, on the substitute motion proposed by Commissioner Chavez.
All right, that motion does not carry. It has 4 in support and 5 in opposition, and 3 absent.
Okay, so that brings up the original motion by Commissioner Gage Watts.
To adopt resolution 47.
Okay, again, that's Commissioner Gage Watts' original resolution. All right, let's vote, please.
All right, and that motion does not carry either. We need 7 to adopt, and that is 5 in support, 4 in opposition, and 3 absent. So that brings us to the next item, which is old business. We have no old business scheduled today. So we'll move forward to new business, where we have 2 items to consider. The first item being the approval of commission travel to attend the I-20 corridor passenger rail meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Chavez, a second by Commissioner Burrell to approve Commissioner travel to attend the I-20 corridor passenger rail meeting. I'd like to also add my support to this travel. It's certainly a key issue for North Louisiana, and I appreciate Commissioner Burrell taking the time to attend. Anyone else that's interested, please feel free to attend as well at the commission's, the commission will cover the expense. I believe, sorry, if we pass. I got ahead of myself there. Okay, I think we're ready. Commissioner Jackson.
Yeah. This may be either to the clerk or to finance. If somebody could give us a, maybe I guess it would be almost 7 or 8 years now, comparison, just total of travel from 8 year, kind of just a comparison of what the trend is.
Year comparison of
Not
travel?
necessarily year to year, but maybe 8 years ago this time versus something like that.
And you just want like a like kind of a total expenditures on travel?
Yeah, just travel total. You don't have to break it down. Just
Travel for all employees or just commissioners?
commission. I'm sorry. Thank you. Yeah, just
So
for
just from
commissioners.
commissioners, though. Great.
Well, Commissioner Jackson, I think we'll find that travel has come down over that last 7-year period, and it's largely due to the legislation that you proposed 7 years ago, I believe. But we'll see what the data says.
With my unethical self.
I don't think that he crafted
Pardon?
that.
Pardon?
He crafted that one. That one was mine.
I can't hear him.
That was mine. not
Oh,
his.
was it yours?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, Commissioner Epperson.
That question isn't even germane to what we're talking about now.
All right, well, let's get back to the agenda then. All right. All right, we're voting on,
The approval of the commission travel.
yeah. Okay, let's vote, please.
All right, that motion carries with 9 in support, none in opposition, and 3 absent. The next item that we have today is the discussion of Caddo Parish's sexual-oriented business ordinance, and that is sponsored by Commissioner Epperson.
Commissioner
Thank you.
Epperson?
I'm sure everyone is aware of the situation relative to the Hollywood Hustler venue that's proposing to open on Financial Plaza in West Shreveport. However, what I found out was there was a lot of innuendos, false accusations, speculations. A lot of politics was involved too. And what I'm doing here, and I contacted Mr. Clark and had him on my teleconference show where we could start to get some factual information. Spoken with Chief Wayne Smith, Shreveport Police Department. However, I just want to make sure that everyone understands that that is directly under the purview of the City Council and the City of Shreveport. However, we have an SOB ordinance, not the famed word, but sexual-oriented business. That's what we attribute that to. And I also spoke with Ms. Frazier. She pulled the ordinance. I sent the ordinance out to a lot of persons that were contacted me about that situation. And what I'm trying to do here now is to be proactive as to what commissioners in unincorporated areas can do with this law. If there are some things that we can tighten up or we can change or we can add. So in the event a venue of this nature comes into our areas of jurisdiction, we would have some civil and some factual information as to just what would happen and transpire when that occurs. So Ms. Frazier is still doing some research. I have some questions that I have submitted to her. Some of my constituents have submitted some too. There are others that's coming in. So at this point in time, that's just being the nature of me having this on because in my purview, this has been politicized. You know, people ask me about petitions and all, so I say I have nothing to do with no petition. I believe in facts. As they say, Apostle Paul saying, all ye do, get an understanding, a factual understanding, a good understanding. And that's what I'm trying to do here with this particular review and discussion of our SOB ordinance. And Ms. Frazier, this is an ongoing situation, and for any commissioners that may have the same thought process as I have based upon what you've seen here lately, please chime in and let's go about a professional means of addressing issues such as this nature. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Epperson. Commissioner Burrell.
I have a question of Mr. Clark, if he would come up, please. In the meantime, I had experience with sexual-oriented business back when I was on the city council, and I know that the parish really doesn't have a dog in this fight. But as I understand it, there was a nursery, because I knew the people who had the nursery there pretty close to where the old IHOP is.
Yes, sir.
And they shut the nursery down.
That is
So not
correct.
to understand that this business has gone in and made application before someone else. I understand that someone wanted to go back and occupy that same nursery location. Because this business has put in this application before that nursery, then is that the reason they could go in and open it up, open it that's, you know, the
I'm just waiting till you
sexual
get through.
business up. You understand my question?
Yes, sir, I understand your question. Exactly. The situation is, because as Commissioner Epperson has said, we've gotten the cart 10 miles ahead of the horse in making a determination about this location. This has not been deemed a sexually oriented business, and that's why there was no notification requirements done. That's why there was no measurements done. The ordinance for the city of Shreveport speaks to no sexually oriented business can be within 1,000 feet of a daycare, of a school, of a church, I think a public park, or a residential district. But until this is deemed a sexually oriented business, it is just considered a retail establishment, retail goods establishment. And we are aware that, and I would like to, continue that by saying that the Shreveport Police Department would be the licensing authority to determine a licensed sexually oriented business. The MPC's role was that we receive, as we do in the parish, in the planning areas, in the unincorporated area, we receive applications for certificates of occupancies. We process the certificate of occupancies. The certificate of occupancy deals with whether or not a building meets the mechanical codes of the city of Shreveport, heating, air, plumbing, electrical, etc. And that's all that we had was an application for a for a retail goods establishment. It's different with the parish, and I would not dare try to go into the specifics of the parish ordinance, but in the city, you have two classifications for sexually oriented businesses. You have the dual purpose business, which means that if 20% or more of the retail sales or 20% or more of the actual floor area in a particular retail establishment is devoted to sexually oriented business items, it's considered a sexually oriented business. In this case, the application and our calculations deemed it at 18% or less. So just that in itself, until more information is brought available, a complaint is filed and Shreveport Police determine that that's not accurate, this is not a sexually oriented business. We continue to stress that.
Well, as a point of clarification here, what I'm hearing you say that if IHOP was still there and less than 18% of its floor space, say they had a room that sold sexual-oriented products, then it wouldn't be considered a sexual-oriented business.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I mean, and you just add, just for just informational purposes, I've gotten some calls that there are items up at Walmart on Westport that are near the pharmacy that would be similar to the items that will be at the Hollywood Hustler, but as earlier shared with you, I mean, the square footage of Walmart is far in excess of that little area being 20% of the sales item.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Well,
Go ahead.
the definition that you're giving, you said that there are two different.
And the second one is if it's 50% or more of the gross floor space or the sales in a particular business, it would be a full-fledged sexually oriented business.
Is that defined by state criminal justice law?
It's defined by the City of Shreveport's Code of Ordinance.
Okay, so it has nothing to do with the state?
I don't think so.
Okay.
The ordinance was amended in 2003, as you remember. Some of you will remember, some of you as old as I am, that's when the Deja Vu, the Hustler, whatever it's called, came into the City of Shreveport. It was challenged, and they won the challenge, and the City of Shreveport went through an extensive amendment to their ordinance to ensure that this would be covered. The sexually oriented businesses could not be prohibitive, but you could use use standards and so forth to determine where they could be located and how close they could be to protected uses.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Stay right there, Mr. Clark.
Mr. Clark, why don't you just hang there for a second? Commissioner
I
Gage-
always forget that, Mr. Chairman, that it never ends.
Commissioner Gage Watt.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, thank you, Commissioner Everson, for bringing this discussion forward. I personally had not received any calls, any conversation about it until I got a call from another commissioner. And my question to him was, do you have this same issue in your area? Because I know this type of store is there. You started talking about the one thing that I want you to elaborate on is that the deja vu. I think that a lot of citizens have been misinformed and believe that this is going to be an establishment such as a deja vu.
And you're absolutely right. Unfortunately, and that's why I made the statement, not being funny or flip or anything, that the cart is far ahead of the horse. This is a retail establishment, a retail goods establishment. As you well know, the Deja Vu, the Hustler Club, or whatever it's called, is a strip club and a retail outlet. And its main purpose, sole purpose, is the sale and the utilization of sexually oriented material. This is, like I said, just going to be a retail sales establishment. We've been informed that is most of the materials, most of the stuff that will be included inside is similar to a Victoria's Secret. I don't know what's in a Victoria's Secret because I don't go to Victoria's Secrets, but that it will be, sir.
On Valentine's Day or something, Mr. Clark.
We're a little past that. That was a time.
Mr. Clark, let's stick to the agenda.
Yes, I'm sorry. I try to always respond.
Don't let Commissioner Burrell please next.
But no, in answering your question, this is far removed. If it was about even remotely similar to what the Hustler Club, Deja Vu, would be, the City of Shreveport's police department would be intricately involved. They would be doing measurements. They would be doing determinations. They would have to be licensing employees. They would have to be licensing the establishment. This is nowhere near that. And we cannot, we've tried to get that information out to the citizens in West Shreveport, but we're failing miserably. They've already formed their own conclusions and don't want to hear what we got to say.
So this will not be like Deja Vu.
This will not be a strip club.
All right. And the last question is, will this business open?
If nothing changes, the business has applied for a certificate of occupancy. Once the inspections are done and those inspections are cleared, there is no reason why this business should not open.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Gage Watts. Commissioner Jackson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Clark, I have a, I believe it's Cindy's on my side of Shreveport Barksdale.
Yes, I know exactly where it is. Not that I go there.
Okay, now you're gonna leave yourself away. That's the second time. That's the second time. Strike two. All right.
I'm gonna be quiet because this might be televised. I got to go home this evening.
Would you liken this establishment to that of that? Because I think the one in my district, it has closed. And the only reason why I know it is that because I pass it going to the gym. I pass it headed to the gym.
Okay.
So, would you liken it to an establishment like that? Something similar to?
Yes, it's very similar. I mean, the reason that I'm aware of this is because we got a concern about it might be going over the percentages that are allowed not to be a sexual-oriented business, but it's very similar.
Remember some stuff.
I think that one has either an area or a wall,
right?
Or
because
a
it's
room.
gotten larger,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They
where they
this
place certain materials that no one under the age of 18 can enter and get into. I mean, it's very similar to. Someone told me the old VHS video stores where they had all the children and family videos out in the open space, and in a small portion, a room somewhere else where the adult videos and children under the age of 18 could not
But
enter.
that just falls strictly under a retail, like a Dollar General or something like that.
And that's what we've been trying to equate it to. It is a Family Dollar or a Dollar General at this point. That does not mean that they will, we're aware, you're aware that they may choose to increase the inventory. If they do, if somebody complains, police will go.
So the who monitors, and I've always wondered that, even for bars and stuff, who monitors the activity of like percentage to, like bars, the percentage to food to alcohol? Who's responsible?
That's ABO, the Alcohol Beverage Ordinance Office
but in
for the
this
City of
instance,
Shreveport. It's still them.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, sir. I mean, we've been in contact with them. Okay. They are aware. What they shared with me is that they will do no inspections or no measurements or anything until there is a reason. They have probable cause to go and make a determination that this place is not maintaining compliance with the ordinance.
Okay. Thank you.
And I don't try to speak for them, but that's just what they shared with me.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson.
Well, I do have one last question. Just curious, and I'm playing devil's advocate here. I'm gonna go back to maybe a year or 2 years ago. Even if it was an SOB, there was a lot of conversation down here about property rights and folks having the right to do whatever they wanted to do with their property. Would we be contradicting ourselves in a sense?
That I don't know. All we can talk about is that if a retail outlet is asking for a certificate of occupancy, that they either granted it, meeting the ordinance or not.
But yeah, I just seem to remember the chamber being packed at one time about people having the right to do, and that's why I think when we become so, and I guess the word, I would say cavalier in our, because I believe property rights are very strong. I'm a strong advocate for property rights, but we excoriate the MPC, but when we have issues like this, we have to depend on the MPC to enforce zoning and planning, proper planning, to make sure that those type of things don't pop up in areas where they should be, areas that should be protected. And that's the point that I'm trying to make, is that is the balance that we have to strike with your department. Because a lot of people just say, let's just get rid of the MPC, let's get rid of zoning, let's get rid of planning. This is the balance that we have to strike when it comes to planning and zoning. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Chavez.
Thanks, President. Yeah, on that point, I know I've contacted Director Clark about this a few days ago, and I know he's got some broad shoulders. He's been taking it this week, so thank you for what you've been doing in your office. Thank you, Commissioner Evans, for putting on this. I know even my pastor called, making an inquiry on what's really going on. And last, I should add that I think Director Clark should get the Decorum Award of the Year for navigating this topic in today's chamber. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Oh, Commissioner, thank you, Commissioner Chavez. Commissioner Epperson.
I'm through with you, Mr. Brown. Y'all the hook.
Thank you so much, sir.
A can of you know what. I just want to state, when I was coming to the commission today, the tallest crane in the world was putting up a sign in that old op out. That's about 100 and some feet tall, whatever it is. So they rolling, and I went and visited. Looked like they spent probably about $500,000 in there.
Wow. It's beautiful.
I don't think they spent that money for nothing. Okay.
I don't think that they have any plans of having to shut down.
No.
I think they plan to follow the laws of they know that they'll be very visible. They know that the citizens will be watching and monitoring them. I don't think they have any intentions of violating the law, but I may be wrong.
Okay, thank you.
I just got one last
Commissioner Epperson, are you done?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Gage Watts.
I'm making like a Baptist preacher right now. Just one more question before I close. The Cindy's, I know Commissioner Jackson mentioned the one in his district, and there's another one that is on Mansfield Road.
That's correct.
Did you have any opposition or any petitions about that location? I know they've remodeled and moved into a new building.
The Cindy's, both of them, there was no conversation about them. We had one call. I remember that they felt that they maybe should not be, some of the items should not be visible, and we got in touch with the Shreveport Police Department. But there's also a fun shop, I think, on Mansfield Road.
Yeah.
But this situation out on Financial Plaza is totally different from any of the other retail outlets that have come into the city. And for some strange reason, these have been in operation, as you well know, or maybe you don't know, but have been in operation for quite some time. And we never, ever get complaints about them.
Is that a franchise?
The Hollywood Hustler is a franchise, because we are aware that in the state of Louisiana, there's one in New Orleans and there's one in Baton Rouge, and I think there's one in Lafayette. And just for informational purposes, for some strange reason, they all locate in areas similar to where this one is located, where there are hotels,
From the freeway.
right by interstate highways. The one in Baton Rouge is on Airline Highway, but the one in New Orleans is in the French Quarters. But that's pretty similar to what's happening in these other cities.
Strategic supply and demand. That's it, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gage Watts. Commissioner Epperson.
Point of information, if you would, go to Amazon, how zoning broke the American city and how to fix it. Be some good reading.
I saw that advertised recently, that book. I think we're done on this topic. Am I correct? Thank you so much, Mr. Clark.
Thank you all so much.
We just stripped all the meat off of that bone.
Is the clerk there, Mr. Clerk?
Yes, that brings us to communiques and committee reports.
All right, do we have any additional communiques or committee reports? Commissioner Epperson.
Yes, the 11th Annual Veterans Parade and Honor Ceremony will be on. The Honor Ceremony will be Saturday, November the 2nd, beginning at 5 o'clock p.m. at the Municipal Auditorium, 705 Elvis Presley Boulevard. We're working on getting General Cotton, who's over the Cyber Command, to be our guest speaker. We have our 11 honorees and our come to Paisley Ward line up, so we're looking for a real good time after a 2-year hiatus. And also the parade will be back on Sunday, November the 13th. We roll out at 2:00 p.m. We start staging at 11. Got a lot of interest, and everybody's been pinned up the last 2.5 years, so we're looking for a really big time to show our respect for our veterans and our military. And if any of the commissioners want to ride in the parade, let me know, and I will reserve a tram, be it commissioners or employees. We try to keep us all together. Let me know in advance. You probably get a sign identifying who you are, and I'll get you a picture.
Commissioner Epson, I think, I want to make sure you stated the right date for that. Could you repeat that, please? What date?
November the 13th.
That's the parade, and then the
parade. I'm sorry.
And the memorial, the
Veterans Honor Ceremony, Saturday, November the 12th.
Okay, thank you.
At 5 p.m.
Thank you very much.
All right, and before I go, just want to once again, still getting a lot of accolades from our comeback to sites on Shirley Francis and West Park. And I think I had sent Dr. Wilson an email. I think those people's salaries need to be seriously adjusted. And not only them, I'm hearing we get the same things from all our compactor sites throughout the parish. And we need to keep some good people down there and continue the work that they're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing no one, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, thank you, we're adjourned.